How's it going? Welcome back to another part of my Let's Play of Tomb Raider 2 on the Mac. And yeah, in this level we're doing something totally different, and I'm actually really excited to do this level. And I guess the first thing I have to say is this really reminds me of that part in Tomb Raider Underworld. And the other thing it reminds me of, really weirdly I guess, is that underwater level in 007 Nightfire on the PS2. It really reminds me of that. But yeah, up until this point, I've actually been really I've been really negative about the underwater levels, like 40 Fathoms and everything, because I think, honestly, I think it happens to a lot of people, but all the levels kind of it has this psychological effect where it all kind of blurs into one, I guess, and so it's very difficult to kind of remember each level on its own, and you kind of think of the whole thing as one huge kind of nightmare in a way, because it is kind of it isn't supposed to be pleasant. That's the thing. Like, it has a very certain psychological effect on the player, but yeah, playing back through 40 Fathoms, I really have a newfound kind of... I'm basically feeling the exact opposite to what I expected I would feel, and all of the dread that I had towards actually going through this level is basically gone, because I've kind of realized just how amazing this level is, and I guess there are a few things that I didn't get when I first played this game, and they've only really become clear recently. And one of the first things is the name 40 Fathoms, because I don't know if it's common knowledge. It's certainly nothing I ever knew, but like, I always thought that 40 Fathoms was just almost like a poetic name of some kind, but a fathom, I quote, is similar to, what did I write down? It's a unit of length equal to 6 feet / 1.8 meters, and it's chiefly used in reference to the depth of water. So it's basically used to measure the amount of depth in water, and so 40 fathoms would be exactly 72 meters below the surface, and that's quite cool in a way, because it kind of, in lots of games where you get this kind of thing happen, you kind of wonder, oh, I actually wonder how deep we actually are, but this game actually tells you, so I think that's actually pretty cool. And yeah, you have to be really careful in this level, because there are lots of, I guess there aren't lots of enemies, but there are lots of really sneaky, kind of irritating enemies that kind of drain your health really quickly, because that's another thing about this level I've got to kind of explain, I guess. The fact that maybe I was just dumb the first time I played through this level, but like I've said many times, I just didn't get, like, the first time I played through this game, like, even as an adult, I didn't get quite why we were doing certain things. Like, I got a general idea of why we were doing things, but I didn't really understand the specifics, I guess. And yeah, so the people are down here because they're trying to locate the Seraph, and I guess the first time I played through it, I just thought that they were just down here for some reason. I didn't really quite get that they... I knew that they were the Flamanera people, but I didn't quite get that they were down here on the same mission that we were, to locate the Seraph. But basically, the way it works out is that Marco Bartoli, the current leader of Flamanera, he... or should I say his father, Gianni Bartoli, when Marco was a boy, he set off from him saying that he's became kind of enlightened of, I suppose, his greater purpose in life and what he can do since he possessed the Seraph. And so he set off to Tibet on the Maria Doria, which is, of course, the wreck that we're in now. And the Barkang monks, who basically, if I'm getting this right, they are the defenders of the monastery and the powers that Marco and Gianni were trying to get a hold of. So they bombed the Maria Doria, and that's the reason why it's underwater and obviously completely in ruin because of that. And I never really understood that, but yeah, the Tomb Raider 2 story is so cool when you actually do your research and actually find out the specifics, I guess, because I can't really remember whether there was like a leaflet with the game that really explained and went into detail about this, but yeah, I mean, the story is really good, and going through, I mean, especially playing through and making videos about it another time, it's really brought, it's kind of like I'm enjoying the game more than I would have done even on my own, I guess. But I think this section here really reminds me of, no, it doesn't remind me of, it was a perfect example of an area which I thought was like later on in like one of the, like maybe the second or the third wreck levels. I thought it was later on, and these levels do a really good job. I mean, it's certainly not a negative thing. It's quite cool how the levels kind of blur into kind of one in a way, and they kind of really feel, I think the word I used to describe them earlier was suffocating, and I think that is probably the best way to describe them, because it's not supposed to be pleasant. The whole point of these levels is that it's supposed to evoke a kind of negative feeling in the brain, kind of almost like claustrophobia or something, because it is pretty intense, the situation that you're in, and you really kind of feel, I remember the very first time I went through these levels, I kind of thought, how much longer am I going to be down here? And it was, I remember it was such a kind of relief, almost like, I guess, it was kind of cathartic when I finally got out of the wreck on the deck level, and I'm really looking forward to playing through these levels in their entirety and really talking about them. And I won't go massively into detail about everything in this level, I guess, because we have like, I think we get like 4 levels down here, so we get quite a few levels in this style, and they it's so awesome how we're upside down, and you have to think kind of backwards in a way, and I think that's really creative, and especially for the time, I guess this was really cutting edge. The idea was really cutting edge, and to see it actually in 3D in a game, it was really amazing. And another great thing about these levels is the ambience, I think, because it really adds to the kind of the terror of these levels. And I think the puzzles of these areas are really interesting as well, because if you think back to Venice or like any of the earlier levels, they kind of work in a very kind of, I don't want to say cliche way, but you can kind of, they work in a very predictable way, like you pull a lever and then something happens. Whereas in these levels, you pull a lever and you've got no idea quite what is going to happen, because you think, because the whole environment is in pieces, anything could happen, and you're pulling levers and destroying areas and things, and getting old kind of broken down machinery to work and things. And I think that's why these levels stand out. And I mean, there is so much that I'm looking forward to in this game. Like, I mean, I can't wait to get to you know, like the Temple of Jean, and certainly Floating Islands and all those later levels, and even Tibet and the Tibetan foothills. But I think these levels are going to be... I think I'm going to say that every single time I go to a new section, because I'm really finding a newfound love for this game. But certainly at the minute, I mean, I can't wait to go through the rest of the Maria Doria levels, because they really... I guess I've never really tried to analyze them or to really think about them in great depth, I guess, no pun intended. But yeah, I guess understanding the story now gives me a newfound kind of love for them and appreciation. And I guess one thing I didn't say about this level is the fact that it is probably the most... I think it is actually the shortest level yet. And you wouldn't think that, because there's quite... it looks like there's quite a lot going on, maybe to somebody who isn't used to this game, but if you know what you're doing, when you get to know this level and understand exactly what you've got to do, it is so short. It's actually quite surprising, because when I was thinking about doing this level, I was thinking that it might take me like at least 25 minutes, because obviously, like I said, I kind of forgot each level of the wreck, I guess. So it was quite a surprise to realize how quick this level is, because this is literally the end right here. You just kill these guys, and I think that is the one enemy that really irritates me. I guess there were a few irritating enemies in Venice, but that is so irritating, the way that guy can just... I guess there's no way to even avoid it. You are going to get hit no matter what. But yeah, that is pretty much the end of this level. And but yeah, I really can't wait to do the coming levels. And yeah, that was 40 Fathoms, and in 14 minutes, that is definitely the shortest level so far. And I would say, actually, when I think about it, that was actually probably just as easy as the offshore rig, maybe. But I seem to remember things do get quite challenging as we get further into the game. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up for this part. So thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.